The pandemic has actually taught us quite a bit when it comes to technology. And one of the things that it's taught us is that having the right digital and AI capabilities were absolutely key to enabling us to respond quickly to the pandemic. ADNOC is one of the largest and most admired and most sustainable energy companies worldwide.
Alan, you joined ADNOC in May 2019 as the company's first chief technology officer. What attracted you to the opportunity?
The first thing I would say is the opportunity to work for a great leader. His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber is one of the most respected leaders and CEOs worldwide. Finding that combination of that respected leader and really that passion for technology and digital was something that was just hugely attractive to me. Another reason, the opportunity and the challenge to create a CTO function from scratch. This is establishing a vision to help ADNOC deliver our 2030 smart growth strategy through the use of technology. And of course, being able to work with all the businesses and all the challenges across the entire oil and gas value chain, from supercomputing and subsurface to new materials, to safety and shipping, to new retail store concepts, and so many others. So looking back over the past 2 years, it's been a tremendous experience and I've loved every minute of it.
So when it comes to all of those investments that you're making in your role, how do you navigate those risks and rewards? Like, how do you prioritize?
Technology is really difficult. And I think it's a concept as well that is not really well understood. And it's because we all look at it kind of from a reward standpoint or a benefit standpoint. But as an industry, we're also keenly aware of the risks that technology brings. And of course, you do need to take on some risks to reap greater rewards. I would also say, when it comes to technology and innovation, there's this overused concept today of failing fast. I've never really liked this terminology because it implies that the ultimate objective is failure. So I think a much better concept is to fail forward. That is, learn from your failures, improve, and ultimately ensure that the overall project is successful. Take on more risks and then use failure to find success. The other aspect, though, is about how we manage those risks, right? We identify those risks up front and we proactively manage them. I often quote Peter Drucker in this regard, right? When he said, innovation can be systematically managed if one knows where and how to look. So we deal with risk in a way by constantly reprioritizing our R&D portfolio. That is, if some technology isn't delivering, we have to be able to stop it. We need to continue to mature our R&D portfolio, meaning we have to move projects closer and closer to implementation. And our innovation strategy, we have to be very, very clear on which technology areas are the most valuable.
Innovation is also kind of a big part of ADNOC's culture. So how do you build that into a company? Like, how do you kind of get your people on board with that? And can you talk a little bit about some of the programs that you're excited about?
The first thing that I would say is you're exactly right. When it comes to technology, this is just as much about change management and getting everyone on board as it is actually solving those hard technical and technological problems and those challenges. But importantly for us, it's not technology just for technology's sake. We work with the business teams very, very closely to develop technology solutions to map to their business challenges and help them drive value creation long term. When we built our Panorama Digital Command Center, we didn't do so with COVID in mind. I don't think anyone could have predicted 4 or 5 years ago a global pandemic that had the implications that we've all just gone through. But by building out and investing in our artificial intelligence and our data analytics and all of these capabilities over the past few years has really allowed us to respond quickly to, again, those situations that no one could have predicted. And this is really underpinned by access to data, right? So we have access to real-time data through Panorama. We can do simulations, we can do scenario planning. So we get ahead of what may come. That is, we know what to do before those events happen. So we're very, very quick and very agile.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like how you use technology to gain that competitive advantage, and then beyond the Panorama Digital Command Center, what other sorts of technologies that you've been implementing?
Today, when we look at advanced technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning and data analytics, and blockchain, we see all of these becoming increasingly important, certainly in a post-COVID world. We continue to scale our AI and machine learning technologies, and we're also working very closely with Group 42 as part of our joint venture company, AIQ, to develop and commercialize these AI products and applications, not only for ADNOC, but for the entire oil and gas industry. We expect to see, this growing trend of connected worker, right? Something that, again, we've really experienced over the last 12 months, where we'll still continue to leverage technologies, connected worker technologies like AI and virtual reality to further strengthen our operations and in particular our HSE, our health and safety performance. The last one that I would point out is blockchain. We've been using blockchain for hydrocarbon accounting across our value chain for several years. And today we're expanding this to track and manage our sustainability data from production all the way through our processes, through our operations, and even into our final products. We're very fortunate that ADNOC has one of the least carbon intensive barrels of oil in the world. And our goal is to continue to be able to use blockchain to create that immutable carbon accounting for all of our barrels and all of our products.
So it sounds like ADNOC has a lot planned for the next several years, but what do you think those big changes are across the whole industry in the oil and gas industry? What are those changes that you think we'll see looking ahead to 2030?
On the technology front, what we see really emerging today are three key areas. The first is decarbonization. That is reducing the amount of greenhouse gases and in particular CO2 emissions. The second area is digitalization and artificial intelligence. We're seeing the deployment and use of digital at an accelerated rate, and certainly much, much faster deployment today than we did even 12 months ago. The third area is fuels of the future. So for example, hydrogen production and hydrogen utilization. Technology cannot be considered in isolation. It must be developed alongside global strategic partners. So for us, supporting and encouraging R&D with partners and ecosystems that have the capability to innovate at scale allows us to reduce the risk of technology commercialization. We really need to focus our strategy investments on a few impactful platforms. We're better off doing 20% right than 80% wrong, right? And that requires a lot of discipline and very difficult decisions at times. The last one that I would just highlight is really around skills and capabilities. We can't lose sight of the fact that our people are truly our greatest asset. We can put the strategies in place as management and we can set the direction, but we need the skills, the people, the capabilities that really enable that successful translation of science from laboratory into manufacturing.
So I do have one more question that I thought of right before we got on this call. And I saw that you're passionate about sustainability and that's actually part of your current role. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what does that look like at ADNOC? What does that look like within the broader industry?
We have a long and rich history when it comes to sustainability. We were one of the first companies to adopt a zero flaring initiative many, many decades ago. And so when you look at our overall sustainability performance, we are truly leading the industry. In sustainability for us, it really encompasses two key metrics, right? So the first one is it is simply the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do from an environment standpoint, a biodiversity standpoint. It's the right thing to do from a society standpoint as well, to ensure that we can deliver energy with the lowest intensity, the lowest emissions across the entire industry. Another area though around sustainability, and this is where I think many people can get this confused with business, is that actually sustainability is really good for business. When you're sustainable, what that means is you're using less energy, you're using less water, you're emitting less carbon dioxide. All of those things mean you're more efficient. So sustainability is, again, inherently really good for business. So we bring both of these together to really drive our overall and long-term sustainability and our technology ambitions.